Alright, so your lathe is cutting a taper. First, in order to fix it, we need to map what is actually happening with the lathe so we know what we have to fix. So, we're going to start out with a bar. Sorry about that. We're going to take a bar. Any old piece of scrap will do. This right here is roughly 4 inches long. I'm just going to put it in there. I've already done this, so I kind of know where my lathe is. Now, being that this is a 3-jaw, I've taken it out, I just put it back in. It's not going to be right. Okay. Alright, now. So, tailstock is off, you notice. There's absolutely no reason for a tailstock when doing this. So, naturally, I'm not even going to face the part off because it absolutely does not matter for this. So I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to come in. Touching. I'm going to take a pass. I'm going to be over here. Trying to see a little better. This pass is just to see where I'm at. Alright, I'm going to back it off. And I'm going to go, there's 5 thou, so 10 thou cut. Turn in about 3 inches. 2 thou. Spring pass. Speed it up a little bit. Back it out, move it over, shut it off. Okay. Now, I don't need this anymore. Put that right off. Now, we're going to come on here. And I might not be able to get it that way. I might have to come over this way. My indicator on my cross line. And I'm on straight. Down. Out. Okay. zoom you in. So, checking across the front. And just make that 0. Back out. Back to 0. Come across. Okay. Oh, bumped it. Okay. -3. So I'm going to write that down on my paper here. There's my chuck. There's my bar. So I have 0 and -0.003. Okay. Or no, plus. No, I'm minus. Hang on. 0. Yeah. So -003. Okay. So I wrote it down. Then that should be 0. So what that's telling me is that this headstock, because this is we're following the same path the tool took, so this should run straight zeros. So that's telling me that the bed has a twist or the headstock's up, but that is tool deflection, because we're going across the front. That tells me, really what it tells me is there's a difference between my carriage being here and being back here, which indicates a twist in the bed. But we're -3, it could also be deflection of the headstock or even the part in the chuck jaws. Okay, moving on. So, naturally, did that wrong. It's not what I wanted. Whoops. So that's going to be here. 0 and -0.003. Take measurement on the end. That is 0.875, 885, 893, 0.893. So we'll go 0.893. Measure on this end. 0.906. 0.906. So we are cutting a taper. We're not going to worry about that right now. Alright. Now, move this in. Adjust this. Touching. 0. Okay. Let's run it back. 0. Run it forward. We are 15, 16, 17, 18. So we're going to write that on our paper. Wish you could see that better. We'll have better lighting in a minute. So we'll put 0 and then plus 018. Okay. Now move it back out. Raise that up. I know somebody's going to say something about the indicator. The fact of the matter is, this arm has to be within 10 degrees, not the indicator. Okay, so we're already. Okay, we max straight out. Okay, so that's 0. Zero, 10, 15, 20, 25, 26, 27, 27 and a half. We'll just go with 27. Okay, so 0 out here. We are plus 0.027. Alright, now let's figure out what that means. Okay, so this is what we measured with our micrometer. So we're going to go 0.906 minus 0.893 equals 0.013. 0.013 is right here. So it'd be plus 0.013, right? And then, so that's our taper. We're going to divide that by 2, which equals 0.0065. 0.0065 is the taper that we are cutting. Okay. Now, down to here, we're plus 18 thou. Again, divide by 2 equals 0.009 plus 0.009. Alright, and then across the top, 0.027 divided by 2 equals 0.027 divided by 2, just so I don't mess it up, 0.0135. 0.0135. Now, we're measuring 3 thou when we should be measuring 0, which is tool deflection, or that is our error because it's not repeatable. Essentially, when you run across the front where your tool just went and you're running on the carriage that just drove the tool, that 003 shouldn't be there. So it can't be anything other than movement of the tool movement of the headstock. There's no other way. So 0.003 is either a bearing issue or a gib issue. That's deflection. So we go deflection 0.003. And probably with it being negative, the end of the rod is deflecting away positive 0.003. So and then when you get down here, it's not as much because it doesn't have the leverage. So the 0.003, we're going to blame that on bearings. We're going to say probably, most likely, is bearings. Okay. Now, 0.003, again, we're going to divide that by 2. That gives us 0.0015. Now, we come up here, 0.0065 minus 0.0015, because we're getting rid of our error here, is 0 is 5, 0, 0. So 5 thou taper, 0.009, 0.09 minus 0.0015, 9, 8, 10, 5, 7, 0, 0, 0.0075, and 0.0135 minus 0.0015. 0 is 2 is 1, 0. So we're deflecting 0.003, which we're going to say is probably bearings, or just tool pressure. It's a lot of stick out. It is what it is. I wouldn't worry too much about that. That sounds like a lot, but I wouldn't worry too much about that because we got a lot of standoff. All right, and then our taper is 0.005. This is all over 3 inches. So I'll write that, over 3 inches. Taper is 0.005. And then headstock alignment. This way. It is going to be kicked that way. So headstock is going to be front. Where are we at? 009 plus 0.0015. Second one, height of the headstock. This is looking top down. Height of the headstock. Stock height is going to be 013. It's going to be plus 0.012, which is a lot. 12 thou is a lot. Like 1.5 thou, not so bad. 12 thou, bad. Now, I will explain what that means, and hopefully you guys can look at that and understand what I'm measuring. Okay, so take this just to explain. we have 3 thou deflection, meaning when we are cutting, we're moving this way. Well, here, I'll do it this way. The tool, or this piece, is moving that way, towards the back, 3 thou. So, that could be the headstock bearings, that could be flexing the jaws, or it could even be that the ways are not level, and it could be that there is a 3 thou twist in the center, or a 3 thou dip. It's either a dip or a twist out in the center, or it's deflection of the part due to headstock bearings. So step one would be to level your lathe, and I would level your lathe before you even do this, just so you can eliminate that possibility. If the lathe bed is level and it still does that, then it's headstock bearings. So that 0.003, if your bed is level, is most likely headstock bearings. But remember, it's half of that. So it's, it's half. So, now, let's go headstock front. Measured across here. We checked that, or measured across the back. And we know that this bar is pushed towards us by 0.0015. So it's 1.5 thou towards us. Which, assuming that the bedways are level, because this could all be twist will do some weird things, that would mean that my headstock is twisted this way. It's twisted towards me 1.5 thou. The only way to fix that is to shim it back the other way. And on these, you actually have to grind on the V-ways. It's kind of a pain. So, but that's what that means. You gotta align your headstock towards because it's towards you, 0.0015. You gotta push it back 0.0015. Okay, now the height, headstock height, we're talking this way, up and down. Headstock height is 0.012, so 12 thousandths, and it is 12 thousandths. Which way? There, 12 thou. Okay, let's see. We're 12 thou high here, so we're sagging 12 thou. So this part is sagging 12 thou. So again, it's either sagging 12 thou or the bedways are bowed up that much. Again, level the bed first. That's your base for everything. Now, if your bed's level, you're still getting these results, and it's saying that this is 12 thou big here, it's saying that it's drooped. The headstock is drooped. So you need to shim the front of the headstock up 12 thou. That's your headstock height. That's when we measured across the top. We're 12 thou. Let's see. Yeah, we're bigger over here, which means that this is higher than this end. So, let's see. Actually, put an indicator on it. Why not? There's. Come on. Give me a 0. I got a thou down. I got a half a thou up. We're saying that the height is 0.012. So, yep, thou and a half of play up and down. So that really puts us to headstock bearings. There's that much play in these bearings. Now, let's go. Now we're actually on the housing, so because it could be the housing. Go right there ish. There's 0. Half thou. Half thou. Half thou. Alright, so we got 1 thou play this way. So I'm really leaning towards bearings because the front to back, we just measured that, and we're moving a half thou forward, a half thou back, and that's with my hand. So tool pressure is a lot higher than what you think. So 0.012 on the height. That is definitely either a bow or a twist in the bed, and it needs to be shimmed because this is dipped. It needs to be shimmed in the front. Now, if your numbers were negative over here and positive out at the end, then it'd be the opposite. I'm hoping this makes sense. But essentially, the front of the headstock needs to be shimmed up 12 thou, assuming that the bed is level. Everything assumes that the bed is leveled and not twisted. So, need to raise the headstock 12 thou in the front. Okay. Now, the left and right, we're getting a thou and a half. That, I can get a thousandth there. I can pull a thou. I can pull a thou out of it by hand. So that's bearings. That's just going to be bearings. And honestly, that's not that bad. And that also explains the deflection of measurement of 0.003, because 0.0015 times 2 is 0.003. So if this is moving 0.003 away, then it's going to be, if it's moving 0.003 away out here, then it's going to be 0.0015 actual movement. Because it's a diameter, you're taking off the radius. Everything is doubled or everything is halved, however you want to look at it. So, yeah, the deflection is going to go on bearings as well. So, main issue that I'm seeing is the headstock height. That dip down, this is lower than this right here. The distance from here to here is less, or from here to here is bigger than here to here. So on this lathe, because I did this, I know that the headstock needs to be shimmed up. Now I'm not going to shim the headstock because I haven't checked this bed for level. And that's another thing that could possibly be the issue, is because of the span here. It could be bowed up in the center, it could be twisted in the center, we don't know. So take all this with a grain of salt. This is all assuming that your bed is perfectly level and the twist is pulled out of it. You've shimmed it, so you've shimmed the feet so that it's right. But after that, this is how you check everything else. I think I'm repeating myself at this point. I hope I covered everything. I hope that's understandable. Yeah, so here's that page again. You can always go back and look at how we got these numbers. And yeah, do the same with your lathe, and then you can figure out why you're cutting a taper. And don't worry about the tailstock at all. The tailstock is something completely separate. Your headstock alignment to the ways is what's important. Your tailstock can be adjusted. There's tons of videos on that. There's not a whole lot of videos on figuring out your headstock. So that's how to check it. It's not how to fix it, but it's how to check it. All right.